how's it going? Thanks for being here today. What am I going to be talking about? I have a feeling I'm going to do a journey into another dimension. You guys can follow along with me. I'm going to teach some awesome stuff about the energy world and psychic ability. I'm going to talk about some things. I haven't really defined what the topic is going to be. I will say that as I've been going through this roller coaster ride of experiences, I had a neat thing happen last night. I can't explain it. Basically, we're going to go through doorways, okay? As we go through a doorway, whether you know you're going through one or not, you're going to feel different from what you would define as yourself. You might feel more tired than usual. You might feel more withdrawn. You might feel more energized because you're going through a doorway of new experiences. And so I'm going through a doorway and I'm exploring darker things this month, which is just a part of myself. We're all darker things. We're all Stranger Things. This is no coincidence on timing with Stranger Things. That's been on my mind too. We live in echoes. We think about the same things over and over and over again, and we find deeper meaning in the same thoughts. So the thing that happened last night is I felt the presence of what would be defined as Mother and Father God. There's nothing cheesy or corny about this. So what I did was, because I've been exploring so many darker parts of myself, and I've been feeling so much the vulnerability of our collective, and I've been feeling it as though it is me too, and it is me. It's all of us. There's changes happening. We're part of the change. We're going to feel how we need to feel as we move through these doorways, and let's not judge ourselves for what we need to be in those moments. The more raw and more true to our specific voice that we are, the more natural, the more we are ourselves, right? So you can't judge me for being myself, especially when I'm authentically so. And if I overthink if I am being myself, or if I'm trying to be something I'm not, or whatever, it's like, stop it. Just say what you need to say. Say what you need to say. So Mother, Father, God were there, and I realized that it was reaching the next doorway, and that doorway was bringing them into a closer sensation inside myself. They always were that close. It's just as we go through doorways, their God, our higher self, spirit guides, are going to feel further away, and we're going to feel more alone, less receptive. Then we're going to go through a doorway, and there they are again. So if you go through phases where you just can't feel the presence of your higher self, you're going to have to outsmart that sensation, because your higher self is ever present. You are literally your higher self. We are surrounded by higher selves all over the place here. Every human being walking this earth is their higher self. Now, are they behaving at the level of their higher self? What would you, as your higher self, how would you behave? If you could just admit it already, that you are your higher self on this earth, now what are you going to say? What are you going to do differently? A lot of us think, well, if I'm my higher self, then I would know so much more than I know. I'm confused. I don't know what I'm doing. I want to have purpose. And we get in these funks where we expect purpose to just appear. And I know why that is. I know where that comes from. Because if you put the signal out into the world, there's an adorable little dog over there. It's like Dorothy's little dog. It's Toto. So cute. If you put purpose out into the cosmos and say, guide me, show me, reveal to me, nothing. Day after day, nothing happening. You just don't know where you fit into the picture. And I tell you what the missing link is you have to own who you are completely. So you got to find out what you're afraid of, what you feel like you can't be because you're not ready yet, or because of this or that, and you might not be ready yet. People just want things to fall into their lap. But sometimes you got to take the bull by the horns. So I've been exploring two thoughts about who am I and what is my purpose. I think it's obvious to all of us that my purpose is to be this communicator, to share what I'm seeing, experiencing about the spirit realm, to teach, to help others. This is the perfect channel for you if you are looking for a spiritual teacher. I remember when I was in college, I was on my own a lot of my life. I mean, I really felt that sensation inside. I mean, I felt severe loneliness. But I also grew with severe loneliness into realizing that I am my own independent person. And I started to see that that's a power. When you can be independent and you can be fine all by yourself, you're powerful. When you're needy, you need people, and there's some kind of, you need to fill a gap that you didn't realize you didn't need to fill it. The best relationship you can have is the relationship with yourself. Now the question is, how do you treat yourself? We're married to ourselves for life. And so what kind of relationship do you have with your marriage partner? Abby's married to Abbey. That's true though. I had this interesting experience. This was on the recent Patreon live stream where I went to Epsilon Buddhist. I just think of big butts. The Epsilon big butt. Alright, so I went there and there was this dragonfly woman. And anybody who goes there, the energy was saying that anybody who goes there, she will give you a gift of your own kind, something that would impact you specifically. And she gave me a really interesting, what is like a crystal box with a ring in it. But I was having this conflict because it seemed too obvious that a ring would be in that box because it looked like a ring box, you know? And I was like, you're not going to give me something and I'm just going to conform to what I believe is going to be in there because it looks like that is what would be in there. But then I needed to conform to that and just say there was a ring in there. And the ring wasn't complete. It was incomplete. And I felt a sensation of anger, not because I had a thought, not because it was in my soul, okay? It was in my soul. And the anger in my soul was coming from something that is incomplete with our relationships with each other. And that we are truly married to one another. Whether you know everybody on the planet or not, we're all family. And if we respect one another the way that we would respect our partners in marriage, imagine what kind of world we would create. And just hear me out here. I know I'm using the word marriage, so it's a little bit odd, but it's not that odd. We're talking about commitment here. We're talking about loyalty. We're talking about deep love here. We're talking about being bonded and connected to every single human being in a way that is a deep, deep love. And that was disconnected. And that was hurting my soul. The need for us to be connected is so important. So it's interesting, I'm talking about how powerful it is when you realize that your relationship with yourself and being independent in this world, it gives you an edge. But I also know that being human is to be social, is to be connected to. And perhaps it was the way my life was, that feeling of I have only myself to understand me, to relate to me. And you live with it. You learn how to live with it, and then you learn how to be okay with it. But it's kind of it's like going against the grains of what is naturally human. It's like putting a guinea pig alone in a little cage. They need to have their social partners because guinea pigs are social animals. That's part of their thriving environment. And I feel that human beings thrive with human beings. But it's confusing. So, I'll let you guys think about all that stuff. Because being strong and independent is truly a strength. Understanding your relationship with yourself. How do you love yourself? What kind of marriage do you have with yourself? Are you abusing yourself, and how? What are the things you say to yourself on a regular basis? What kinds of foods do you eat? What are the loving things you do for yourself, right? This is a marriage. You have this marriage morning till night till morning again, but guess what? You'll always have yourself. If there's one person in this world you'll always have, it's yourself. You won't always have anybody else but yourself. So love yourself. But then understanding the harmony of our world and the harmony of humanity, and understanding the value of the marriage that we have to one another, and how valuable it is to treat each other with respect, genuine concern and caring. We have to love each other for being completely honest as we are. This is coming from my universe. This is coming from my experience. This is how I feel. This is how I see things. This is me. You can't judge me for being me. And this is something I'm learning as well. I've been on this long road of exploring what is judgment. And I'll say that I come from a family that's funny, okay? I'm not as funny as other people in my family are hilarious. And laughter is a big part of our exchanges, and I love laughing. So humor and teasing go hand in hand. And it's a beautiful thing when we can tease each other, and you need to get over yourself if that hurts your feelings. Like, stop being a big baby. You just learn how to grow a thick skin and tease back, you know? It's just part of that exchange. But it's judgmental. So sometimes it can break you down. Even if you're throwing on that sort of appearance that you're not going to hurt me, you still can hurt inside. And I've been exploring judgment for a long time, and how I let judgment in, and then how I let it mold and shape me, even at a young age, because I'm really thinking about the kids of our world and the teenagers of our world, and how precious these people are, and how much love and support that they need to go through their transformations and changes into becoming parts of our society, helping hands of our society, and how important they are to our world. They're going to help our world continue to turn. So how are we guiding them to turn this world? And we need to be there for them. But part of life too, I guess, is it true that we need to learn the hard way? Because if we don't learn the hard way, I feel like when things are just given to you, if they're just handed to you, you take the easy way out because you don't have to do anything. It's like guinea pigs. If you give them their food, like, they'll just keep eating, and they love to eat, you know, and then they get fat. Like, you're gonna have to make sure that they are mindful of their portions. Like, they will take advantage. If you give them too many romaine leaves, they won't eat any hay, you know, so they just want their romaine leaves, and they'll cry for them, like, give me my special food. I don't want my hay, I want my romaine lettuce leaves. So they lean into what they like most, and then they stick with what they like most, and then, you know, it's like when things are handed to you, you take what you're given, and then you don't realize that hardship actually molds and shapes you into a stronger human being, because you would never choose hardship for yourself. You wouldn't choose hardship for yourself. That's why it's hard if you want to go on a diet or go on a new exercise regime. You're going to have to choose hardship for yourself, and nobody chooses that. So how do you become strong in hardship unless life forces you into a predicament where you have no choice but to endure hardship? Would you purposefully put yourself through hardship if you didn't have to? These are all parts of being human in life. So I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to talk about today, but I wanted to say some things. I wanted to journey into other dimensions. So I've been talking about doorways, and going through doorways is normal. I mean, you're going to be a new person every day, every week, every month. You're growing and changing all the time. And seeing Mother, Father, God there, and being able to have that exchange and feel their presence is rebuilding me in a new way. It just shows me that I've reached the next doorway. And the next doorway feels like it's more working with the light than the dark. And it doesn't matter whether you're working with light or dark, because both of them have love in them. The dark, you could say, is the manipulation, the illusion, the challenge, but there's love in that, because that love is tough and it helps you to grow. And when you learn how to face it, like how I'm learning how to face judgment, it doesn't bother you so much. So things that were dark that broke you down, you could say judgment was dark and it broke you down, or you could say judgment was light and it helped you to become strong and overcome what was breaking you down. Something's changing for me, and I just want to be me. And I want to be understood, and I want to be respectful, and I want to be patient. I want to be loving it. But if I'm too many dimensions of self-expression, I can't do it. I can only fit into so many styles of communication. I can in one message. And so thank you for thank you for just being here and just loving me for who I am. All right. I'm going to tell you guys something else, and you should try this, okay? So in all these dark explorations, and Joe was doing a journey into some things for me, and we created a neutral space, a space where there was no dark and no light. Because part of what I'm doing is I'm accessing some of the parts of myself, because I'm trying to access a higher version of light within myself. In order to access a higher version of light within yourself, you have to go into darker places. And as you transform those darkness, those vulnerabilities, those parts of you that are conforming to being lost in the dark, when you bring those back to yourself, when you face what makes you the most uncomfortable, like I'm doing in the physical, like I'm facing judgment, in the physical. So I'm healing parts of myself in energy realms, okay? In dimensional spaces. That's how I do it in the physical. That's how I do it in the energy world, whether you realize you're doing it or not. And then I become brighter. See, I'm becoming brighter by not worrying about judgment. I can be truer to myself, so I can be a brighter light for humanity. You see how that works? So you can visualize yourself feeling brighter, experience yourself being brighter, but you still have to do the work in order to be bold in the expression of what you're choosing to represent, okay? So you want things to just fall into your lap, and that's easy. And sometimes things do fall into your lap, and you have the ability to enjoy the surprises that life has in store for you. I guess my style is, maybe I block the things from falling into my lap because I want to take the hard way. I don't know, but I've learned so much with my style, and I've conquered so much, and I feel like I have so much good advice thanks to this, thanks to the way that I am. All right. So the thing that I was trying to tell you to try, it's a neutral space, and this is how I created it, and I've been using it a lot. I go to this space, I designed it as on top of a mountain, and the mountain is like a perfect triangle, okay? And then there's this huge disc that sits like perfectly balanced on top of like this triangular mountain. And there's no clouds, and the sun just shines down on this disc that is perfectly balanced on this tip of the mountain, okay? So it's, and you can walk even on the edge and it's not gonna fall. You can walk anywhere on this disc, and it represents infinite direction. It represents infinite direction. I don't know why I designed it like that, but that's what came to me. And it's made basically out of glass. You can see what is beneath you, above you, in all directions, and the light is always shining down upon it. The light doesn't represent dark or light. It's just a neutral space. So when you're in a neutral space, it's like silence. And when you have silence, you can hear the sound of yourself again. And sometimes the world gets so noisy, and you get lost in those noises, and you think that you're kind of going in this direction with your thoughts and your feelings, but really you just need to separate from everything and have silence, and then rediscover yourself again. But that's yet another doorway. So you just keep going through doorways and doorways and doorways in life, and you just keep learning new things. So I just chill there. Like, I just lay down, let the light shine upon me, and I just chill there, even for like 30 seconds or a minute, and then maybe 5 minutes. You don't have to meditate for hours and hours. You can. It's like when I go for a really long walk, that's my meditation. I just have this need to be moving all the time. I just have this need to be doing things all the time. And so it's like, it's so peaceful and it's so relaxing and it's so easy. All you do is move your feet and your body just comes with you. Walking is the easiest thing you could do. It's meditative, it's connected to nature. If you're on a trail, it's often very peaceful. I don't know if you live in a bustling community or not, but if you can find a quiet trail, my gosh, it's like God gifts you to humanity to have a quiet trail. It's wonderful. It's like the best things in life are free. That's one of those things. If you can have one, it's a really good experience. You just let yourself go. Let all your thoughts just ramble through your head. Let it all just like release it all into the atmosphere. Let Mother Earth take care of it and just be yourself in your mind. Even talk out loud and just walk and walk and walk. And then next thing you know, you walked a long ways and it's like, wow, how'd I do that? And I used to have to walk back, but it's just such a healthy way to meditate. And I understand wanting to be in that state for long periods of time. All right, I said I was going to do a journey. I'm going to at least do a journey. I'm going to ask Mother and Father God, what is the most meaningful and vulnerable space that I could enter into, that I could also show humanity something of how we can heal imbalances in our world, interdimensional spaces, but heal imbalances inside ourselves. Life isn't just about the energy spaces, it's about our physical lives too, okay? So when you do things in the physical world, you're also doing things in the energy world. May sound more fun, more creative in the energy world than our human world, but you're doing things in those fun, creative places too. All right. Okay. Okay, just so you guys know, this is going to take some time. It feels like they're asking me if I really want to do this journey because it's going to be a long video. And I don't... It's basically 2 messages. I also have a lot on my plate today, so I gotta ask myself if I have time for this right now. I'm asking myself, by the way, if I say no, we're gonna find a space. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna find an aspect of myself in a dark place, and we're gonna give her a hug together, okay? We're gonna give a hug to a part of me that is lost in a dark space. And when you give a hug to me, you help me in my life, and it feels good to help people. And so when I give you a hug, isn't that nice to have somebody who could care? You know what I mean? Isn't it nice that someone could care about you? That somebody would want to go and find a part of you that was lost in the dark and give that part a hug. That's why there's so many people lost in the dark in our human world. You see them in the physical world. You see people lost in the dark in the physical world. But you see people not lost in the dark, people who are powerful speakers, people who have learned some extraordinary things, conquered things, and are in our teaching now, right? And so they aren't lost in the dark. They'll still have parts of themselves that they're going to feel and then be vulnerable to that. But imagine if we can help them too, because they're helping us. All right, so we're going to do a Mother, Father, God journey at some point and go find our brothers and sisters, the children of Source, right? Mother, Father, and God. Like, these are our soulmates here. These are our married companions. Lost in the dark, we need to go help our married companions, our soulmates. All right, so I'm going to go find a part of myself in the dark. Oh gosh, this could be hard. She's got popcorn, and she has a needle, and she has a thread, and she's putting the needle through the popcorn pieces and creating like a garland, okay, like Christmas garland or something. The thing that is very uncomfortable about this is that the needle that pokes through the popcorn and the thread that ties all the pieces together is very painful. So every time she pokes a piece of popcorn, there is this it's almost like she's putting a needle through a human body and then stringing human bodies on a thread. She just keeps doing this. I just touch her lightly on the shoulder. I see that the room that she's in is actually full of crafting materials. It's actually kind of like maybe Santa's workshop. It's got like tools for making toys out of wood and painting things and just crafting supplies. It's not a very large room. She says she doesn't trust me. I say, what does this popcorn garland mean to you? She takes a needle and she stabs it into my heart and then puts me on the garland, pulls the thread through. And she tells me that that's what I deserve. And I say, but you know that you're only doing that to yourself. Why do you deserve that? She says, don't talk to me. And she's starting to cry. But she holds it inside. And her eyes remain as cold as she can keep them. Because she doesn't want to cry and she doesn't want to give in. And I open the door and I say, there's a lot of souls here, a lot of our family here, that are with me to give you a hug. You don't have to explain yourself. We know that this is all about pain and how you hurt inside. And now you're going to feel surrounded by love. And she gets angry and snappy, like, how dare you decide what's best for me or what my needs are? How dare you do that? If I want to be withdrawn, if I want to be in this workshop, if I want to do what I'm doing, that's what I want to get out of my life. So stop telling me what I need. Sounds kind of like a teenager, huh? So I reach my hand in and I touch her heart, and it's made out of like a slushy, a purple slushy. And it's not easy to melt this. What I do is I absorb all the slushy into my hand and I just let it go into my body. What you don't understand, perhaps you do, is that we are part of God, so we're like straight up portal to source. So you can pull any imbalance from another soul or another aspect of yourself or anybody. You can pull it inside yourself and it isn't going to affect you. You just pull it through yourself, through your heart, and to God. So, and you can do that in your own way. I mean, but that's, you can do that, okay? So I'm pulling in the cold into myself and then I'm sending it to God through my heart. She says, stop changing me. Stop trying to change me. And she's like, like she's going to put the slushy back. So I'm going to be even more, almost like cruel. But you guys might not see it that way, but I'm taking her out of this workshop. I'm removing her. I'm putting her into a more and more and more and more uncomfortable environment. Because to her, it's uncomfortable to be hugged. To her, it's uncomfortable to have people come in. To her, it's uncomfortable to have the needle and the thread removed from her hands and be forced to accept this change. For her, it's uncomfortable to have the slushy removed. So naturally, the light is now cruel to the dark, who is resisting the light within itself. So is the cruelty the dark and what it does to the light, or is the cruelty the light and what it does to the dark? Because it feels cruel either side. But it's because we have to bring everything back into balance. You know what I mean? I bring her to this plate that I was telling you guys about on the mountaintop. She has a big gaping hole inside. My guides ask, how do I feel that this representation of me in this journey, how do I feel like it blends into my physical day-to-day life? And I say, it's interestingly enough, the power of being independent comes with a price. So all of the times where I wanted someone to be there and nobody was there, it was like I was just a piece of popcorn on a thread, and God was just stabbing me through the heart. Because loneliness feel like that. It feels like God doesn't even care about you, doesn't care about your heart. And it's like something of the suffering is laughing as you get a piece of popcorn put on a thread again and again and again, and just stabs you through the heart every single day, every time you're reminded that there's nobody there for you. Nobody. And you live in the echo of that long enough, and it just kind of blends into this reality check where you have to embrace the fact that you are there for you. And it's hard to learn that. And I feel that that's still unresolved. Another thing that echoes is manipulative people. You think that you have a friend or somebody that cares, but all they're doing is getting some kind of bonus out of having you in their life, and you don't realize it right away, because simply to have somebody who seems to care about you is really precious until you realize they didn't care about you at all. You still don't even know how to believe that's true. People are so freaking lost in the dark. Then what do you do about that? Again, you realize the one person that you will always have is yourself. It doesn't mean you don't have to trust people. It just means you need to be a little more conscientious of other people's natures, because there are human predators, and they don't even realize the damage that they do, because they won't allow themselves to be aware of it. Otherwise, they would stop. And she says that the world isn't going to change. And why is it that me healing my heart is going to make anything better? Because it's almost like pointing directly at God. You did this to me, God. You did this. You wanted me to know what loneliness, severe loneliness feels like. You wanted to torture me, God. Higher self. Trust me, my relation with my higher self is really out there, because I struggle with not liking her at all. But if I am my higher self, that means I don't like myself at all. But I can't conceive of myself. I can't conceive of my higher self, because my higher self can see the whole tree, and I can only see some of the branches, and what I have to endure to become the strong person that I am, so that I can be the light in this world. I can cry about it, or I can freaking man up and get through this thing and say, wow, this is what I've learned on the other side. Life is hard. Okay? So she's just resting on this sort of plate. Okay? The light. It doesn't really matter. The light's there, the dark is there, but there is something gentle and nice about this place. Because I feel it too. I say I don't have all the answers to what your pain is about, because I know what the pain is about. But you can stay this way, or you can just give in to me, because I'm a reflection of change. I'm a reflection of a doorway for you. Something new on the other side. And you can't really argue with a hug. Can't really argue with that as part of the lesson too, is once you learn how to be broken, how to be powerfully independent, now had to let people in. My gosh, what a story. She shows me another scene because she's trying to grow her heart back, and there's a horrible man that has her kind of chained to a wall. And he's half man, half horse, and he has a sickle. And he sticks it into her in places and rips out parts of her flesh. But it's odd because she says, you can't hurt me any more than I've already been hurt. And she calls him a POS. Like, she spits in his face and calls him a piece of shit. Says, you can't hurt me any more than I've already been hurt, you piece of shit. And he just keeps ripping parts of her out. And she just kind of falls asleep, numb and lifeless. And he just keeps ripping her apart. Then I come in and I slap her in the face. And I say, wake up. Why are you letting him do this to you? Why are you letting him do this to you? This is an energy space. This isn't like she's trapped there. She put herself there and then she just gave up. Sometimes you need a good, I've heard this. Some people just need a good punch in the face. And sometimes you need a good slap in the face, okay? And it does work in the energy world. I come in like this ruthless divine truth and I slap. Wake up. You're the POS. Why are you letting this man do this to you? Wake up. Stop this. Stop letting yourself be tortured, you fool. And he disappears, the shackles disappear. And I see her back on the plate and she cries and she says thank you. But she's very cold. Like she hasn't had a warm blanket in a lot of years. It's weird because she's given a warm blanket and a purple slushie. I don't even like slushies. But she apparently wants a purple slushie, so she gets one. She's a sister self. And I understand her. I give her a kiss on the forehead. And I tell her she's going to be okay. But please, just rest here. And let love in. She is able to. She needs time. Meditation. Meditation is when souls are just digesting the meaning of their existence. And souls even that cross over, like people die here in our physical, they cross over and they go into spaces of meditation even. So she's just in meditation, and I'm shown time passing, and I see Kuan Yin. She becomes a reflection of Kuan Yin. And Kuan Yin is, you can say she is her own gateway of love, mercy, compassion, right? Kuan Yin is awesome. She's strange. So is that part of me Kuan Yin? Or is Kuan Yin a part of me? Can't I say yes to both? Can't you say yes that you are Kuan Yin, that you are a part of Kuan Yin and Kuan Yin is a part of you? Can't you say then, therefore, yes, I am Kuan Yin? If you were to speak as Kuan Yin, what would Kuan Yin say through you? And I'm shown that Kuan Yin is with me. And Kuan Yin was with us. And I see that she just simply is there like a nurturer. The one who brings the warm blanket and the slushie when you need one. When you need some comforts because you chose to give in to the light when you were really hurting inside. You gave in to something that could nurture you back to the light again of who you are, even if it was hard. Even if you let yourself be broken down and beaten down, and just let it beat you down anymore. Because there wasn't any fighting it, because it just hurt too bad. Now you let Kuan Yin in, or you let Mother, Father, God in, or you let soulmates in, you let love in, you let all of us in. And you just remember that love is there for you. Many faces. All right. Time to go. Thank you guys so much. Hope you learned some things from this. Hope you enjoyed this experience. Have an awesome day.